I come from Kenya, and some of you might even have visited. And I'm here to talk about Kenya's role in shaping global discourse, in disinformation, and digital frontiers. Some of you might know this, but many people don't know this, that Kenya was a testing ground for Cambridge Analytica's notorious disinformation campaigns, having had an influence in our country in our elections in 2013 and in 2017. These strategies employed by Cambridge Analytica in Kenya's campaigns went on to inform their approach in the Brexit campaign in 2016. The same strategies were used with the Trump election in 2016 as well. These strategies were tested and piloted in countries like Kenya and others in Asia and the Caribbean, including Trinidad and Tobago. It was a direct application of lessons learned in places like Kenya. Kenya is also a very important node in reproductive health disinformation campaigns, which originate in places far from Kenya, but have a very significant impact there. My point is that a country like Kenya isn't just a passive player in these global disinformation networks, but it actually attracts and shapes the strategies of nefarious actors. We're not just receiving what is happening, but actually are the place where these strategies are being perfected. Kenya's influence also extends in digital offshore work, including content moderation and AI training, including for systems like ChatGPT. One content moderator, his name is Daniel Motang, sued Meta for psychological harm and labor exploitation, and his case could establish a precedent in global tech regulation. And what happens in the Kenyan courts matters. Ultimately, what happens in places like Kenya matters. We have to understand what happens in those kind of places. Their influence from disinformation testing grounds to digital labor hubs and setting global precedents in these things. We have lessons from the world. We have lessons for the world. Our experiences offer global takeaways, emphasizing the importance of strengthening our efforts in information integrity. It's a ripple effect, really, that what happens in one place is actually adopted elsewhere and perfected and ends up affecting people from very different communities. What happens with Motang's case highlights the importance of safeguarding digital workers' rights and provides the precedent for what this information ecosystem could look like in the coming years, as we've heard from a previous speaker. What we need to do is to work together in combating this disinformation. And a country like Kenya is the central point for such collaboration, not marginal to what's happening in the tech ecosystem, but very much central to it. As media professionals, we play a pivotal role in shaping this global discourse, which means keeping a close eye on places like Kenya and what's happening there. We have lessons to teach. We are not just adopting strategies, but we also have experiences that can impact what's happening in other places. We're in this together. We're in this struggle together. Kenya is at the center of a dynamic intersection of news, technology, and democratic institutions, and how those technologies shape what we think of democracy and how it's unfolding in the world today. My call to action is this: read more, learn more, follow more, and listen more to what's happening in places far away from you. This is the only way that we can have a path towards transformation, where we can explore a new way to understand what's happening in our world today and create at least some semblance of a positive change in a very dynamic and fast-changing ecosystem. Ultimately, the deepest insights can come from the most unlikely places, and innovation and wisdom know no boundaries. And so I'm really excited to be part of you this weekend and to share what I have and what I have experienced in following these stories. Thank you.